All right, welcome everybody to the Connection Hangout. My name is Paul Tyra, and I am here in beautiful Lihue, Kauai, Hawaii, broadcasted here live in this gorgeous, gorgeous place I'm at today. And I'm joined by my co-host there in Atlanta, Georgia, David Asarno. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing awesome, Paul, except I'm not in Hawaii with you.
Yes, that day will definitely come. We are also joined online by Brett Brooks, who's going to moderate our comment thread. So if you have a question or just like to type in and give a shout out, please do so. It's right underneath the screen here. You'll see a comment thread. Go ahead and type hello where you're connecting in from. We'd love to hear from you. This is not a product or a business presentation. If you would like more specific information about ASEA, then I encourage you to get back with the person who invited you here, and they can provide you with information. Some of you may see a more info button underneath the screen down here a little ways, and if you have one of those after we're finished, go ahead and click on that as well, and you get more specific information on ASEA. Okay, now what I'd like to do is jump right into it and introduce tonight's guest. We have ASEA Vice President of Marketing, Noah Westerlund. And Noah has over 18 years of sales and marketing experience, 7 of them being in the network marketing industry specifically. He's worked in over 60 global markets, and he has brought many products, brand new products to market. He's a big contributor to the success of the launch of Renew 28. And he's instrumental in creating some of the industry's most recognized brands. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Noah Westerlund.
Thanks, Paul. It's great to be here, buddy.
Awesome. Great to finally have you on, Noah. Let's see. Can you first off share with our viewers more specifically all of the wonderful things you do over there and the areas of responsibility that you have at ASEA?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, marketing, it encompasses a lot more than just doing advertising or putting tools together or pretty pictures. Really, there's a lot of strategy that goes into how we approach these things. So the things that areas that I'm responsible for are, of course, marketing and the execution of the marketing plan in the various markets here in North America and certainly over in Europe. Oversee all the creative direction, which includes all of our online properties, you know, ASEA.net, the replicated websites that we have, ASEA Impact, our social media properties, Facebook, Google+, those types of things. Communications, all that runs through the marketing department, and of course our events go through the marketing department. So that's the high-level view of the things that I'm responsible for here at ASEA.
Awesome.
So Noah, what's that?
It's exciting. It's really a lot of the fun things, but man, there's a lot of work and it really is. There's more of a strategy to it than just, hey, that looks really cool, let's put that out.
So, you know, it's interesting you bring that up. You know, you and I had a little bit of a beginning conversation before we went live on marketing. And, you know, when you listed everything that you do, I mean, just think about this. I mean, it's from branding, it's from execution, it's creative. I mean, it's events. I mean, if it sounds like you're a pretty busy guy.
So true. It's all those things roll up. Unfortunately, we've got such a good team of people at ASEA that are very confident at their jobs, and they really care, and they really care about the success of people at ASEA. I mean, that's what makes this thing a long-term endeavor for all of us, right? If people really care and are really putting a lot of effort into their jobs, and so, yeah, we stay really busy with a lot of different projects that we've got going on.
Hey Noah, can you real quick? You know, you just mentioned about your team and stuff, and a lot of people, they don't see and realize that there's a whole team of people. Can you talk a little bit about it? You know, we see a guy running around with the camera all the time, and different folks, you know, with microphones, stuff like that. I know some of them are actually in-house. They're at ASEA. Can you speak to, you know, maybe a few of those folks?
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have ever been to events before, you probably know who Kim Larson is. She is our director of events, and her team and her do a fantastic job. They manage all the details of the event. So when you're figuring out if you want to come and you're getting on the website and you're trying to register, they handle that part. From when you show up to when you register on site, the swag that you get, you know, the experiences that you have, the food that you eat, all that stuff is handled by Kim's team. And they constantly think about what are all the individual touch points that people have with ASEA at these events, because You know, Paul, you've been in the office a bunch of times, and you know a lot of the people around the office, and you've had an opportunity to interact at a deeper level with many people there. But for most people, it's the website, it's the product they get, the customer service agent they talk to, and then their closest touch point to the company is through the events. And for a lot of them, they might not have the personal relationships with us. So it's, how did the registration go? You know, did the event flow well? Was the venue nice? It's all these other things. That's what defines their relationship with ASEA and their expectations. And so Kim does such a good job of making sure that we deliver on the brand promise of ASEA through the execution of our events and all the minute details that are involved in that. So we've got those events guys. And then, of course, like you said, we've got the guy running around with the camera who joined us just this last year, Mike. And I've had an opportunity to be able to work with Mike Foreman over the last several years at the last company I was at. And he just does a phenomenal job. And being able to bring video, not only shooting and editing and all that in-house, has been a tremendous thing for us. I mean, it saves us a lot of money. It allows us to offer a much, much better product for our associates and a much faster. So we can turn around something so much quicker. Like if we need to get out a quick announcement, we can walk over to Chuck's office, you know, the CEO or Jerem, the president, and just film something and put it up on Facebook in a matter of minutes, where before we didn't really have that luxury. And so it's investing in individuals like that, bringing them in-house, that really grows it. And of course, we've got other people on the communications team, and the creative services team, all these different teams. It's about, I think, 16 to 18 people worldwide, and we're growing all the time.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I gotta say that you do an amazing job, and your teams and all the teams do an amazing job. In this convention, it was my first ever, and yet I put it up there with any, and you and I know I'm a speaker, I put it up there with any event that I've ever been to, the production, and how flawless on the outside, at least what we saw, that it went. So I got to commend you.
Well, thank you very much, David. We really tried to make this an incredible event for people, and that means a lot, especially from someone who's been to a lot of events and really knows the behind the scenes. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it was unbelievably amazing. Now, I know nothing could ever compare to ASEA, and yet you do have prior experience. So why don't you touch on maybe some highlights, some major accomplishments that you look back and you're proud on from your prior days?
So you're right. You know, nothing obviously compares to ASEA, but I learned a lot in the other companies that I've worked at. Really, some of the things that I'm most proud of is learning how to develop a brand, a very strong brand, and take that brand across borders. You know, when you talk about marketing and we talk about what's called like a brand promise, and a brand promise is just simply what is the expectation that a consumer has with an associated brand. And people have a great experience when the brand promise that they're assuming from the marketing materials or from other products that they've used is congruent with their actual experience. As an example, when you're, you know, watching an iPad commercial and you see the FaceTime and then you go buy the iPad and it works just like you want it to, and you have that experience, that's a brand promise that you've been able to deliver on. So that in and of itself is a very complicated thing, because you've got to be able to control perception and you've got to be able to set expectations properly. Now imagine taking that across 60 different countries and making that experience congruent. And so at my last job, that's what we had to do. And it's really, really helped here at ASEA as we've had our international expansion, and particularly as we've launched Renew 28, and we looked at how do we take this idea that seems so simple, like skincare, but how do we make that relate to everyone's different experience and different way of looking at that and their expectations. And so far, it's worked really well, and I think as we get this into market over in Europe, it's going to work extremely well. And so that's one of the things I've been really proud of. I've also had a lot of experience in bringing all kinds of different products to market. And one of the most rewarding things for me is when consumers get that product in their hand, they use it, and they just have an incredible experience. They come back the next day after the launch, and there's a big smile on their face, and they're touching and feeling the packaging, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. This is everything that I hoped it would be and more. That's exactly right there, Paul. That's that's been really, really rewarding over the years. Is just seeing people have these wonderful experiences and realizing, hey, you know what? We totally delivered on the brand promise. We totally delivered on that.
Awesome.
From what I see you have on this new launch, especially, it's amazing.
Well, thanks. So far, so good, huh?
I think it's real important for people out there to know that there's a ton of thought, research, and a lot of experience that goes into launching a product like, for example, a Renew 28. It's not just someone saying, "Oh, this sounds like a good idea." And so what I'd actually like to do now, Noah, if we could, is you did a great presentation at convention, and it gave a little bit of history, gave a little bit of sort of understanding for folks, kind of what goes into this process, and where other big name companies, what they have done as they've evolved as well. I was wondering if you could share your screen and maybe share with the viewers how some of this works.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to kind of talk you through a condensed version of the presentation that I gave, and maybe this will help your viewers understand a little bit about the thought process that goes into this whole thing. So let me just see if I can set that up for you. All right, is that coming through?
Should be in any second. There we go.
All right, perfect. So at convention, Paul, you were there. We talked about one of the most iconic brands of our time, and that's, of course, Apple. And talked about the evolution that they've gone through to get where they are today. And we made some very distinct parallels between Apple and their operational structure, and particularly their marketing structure, and related that to where ASEA is and where ASEA needs to go. And kind of the story behind it is simply, we've all heard of Apple, but how many of us have really owned Apple products until probably the last decade? If I think back through the 80s and 90s when I was in high school and college and stuff like that, yeah, of course I knew who Apple was, and there was an Apple computer at school, but if I had a computer, it was an IBM clone, and that's all Apple had, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you look at Apple as a brand, and you look at how much their mind share or how much the public values that brand, a great indicator of that is certainly stock price. And so this is a graph of Apple's stock price, and I actually pulled this right before the convention. And if you look at it here, you get a little bit of a bump in 2000, but then it's not really until 2005 that it starts to take off. Mm-hmm. And you see that it's kind of a bottom feeder for a long, long time, right? And you got to ask yourself the question, so how does a brand that's so iconic today, that has set a new level for market cap in companies, any company, how does it take almost 30 years into that brand being available for them to figure this out and actually really move things in the public eye? And so the natural conclusion, of course, is, well, it was some sort of amazing product, right? Maybe it was the iPods, or it was Steve Jobs coming back, or it was the iPhone or the iPad or any of those things. And the answer is it's none of those. Because Steve Jobs came back in the 90s. iPods came out in the early 2000s. That's why you see just a little bit of a bump there, but it was right back down. And then the iPad was 2009, iPhone 2007. So what happened? And there was two things. Number one, they switched over to Intel chips in 2005. Now that's going to certainly help their cost structure, but it's not necessarily going to make sure, no one goes out and buys it just because they switched over to Intel chips. It really doesn't change the user experience. It's great for their operations, but that's about it. But really, that's when they started to shift their thinking. And Apple decided, hey, you know what we're really about is we're about people creating and sharing ideas. And what's funny about that is it's so simple, right? There's nothing earth-shattering about creating and sharing ideas. And when you tell people that, they go, really? That's it? And you're like, well, yeah, think about it, though. How important is your idea to you? And how important is it that you convey that properly to someone else? And so if Apple really focuses on creating and sharing ideas, and people get passionate about their own ideas, and they see that, yeah, Apple does it the best way. I mean, look at FaceTime. That works really well. And how easy is it to create a video on my my iPad or whatever it is, and get that out there? That's when people started to really buy into it. And what was deeper than that is Apple started to really look at their brand as, we need to be able to connect people on a deeper level. We don't want to be a commodity. You know, on the PC side, everyone's just competing with each other on price. We want to provide people a premium experience. So not only do we want to help people create and share ideas, we want to do so in such a way that it's so premium, so much better than everyone else, that people just love how we do it. And we're going to present this in a smart and informed and with a lot of design. And so Apple started to take off. And we all know what happened. I mean, look at the stock price, look at where they're at today. But if you look at their history, they didn't start out that way. You know, the original brand promise was just Apple computers. You know, that's what we do. We just build computers and we want one in everyone's home, right? Well,
yeah.
Go back to the brand promise, and that brand promise is just the commitment to deliver between a brand and their target audience. Well, let's look at Apple's original brand. I mean, look at that thing. It's a little complicated logo, right? And then they went to this, which I think most people are very familiar with. Then they landed on this one, and then finally what you have today. Something very simple, and very clean. And they realized, hey, we started out really complicated. We're trying to communicate a real simple idea, so why don't we just simplify? You know, because it's about the user's experience and how they interact with us. So if we're able to simplify, then it no longer becomes about taste. It becomes about how well we put out our brand promise and how easy it is for people to connect to that. And so that's what they've done. And this is one of the most iconic logos out there in the world today. It's right up there with like Nike and Coke, who, again, very simple. But people recognize them and they know them and they know exactly what they're going to get when they interact with those brands. And so that's what we've really wanted to do is we've looked at ASEA. We said, okay, last year we spent all this money on showing up the operational side. How do we do that from a marketing side? And it's the same thing. Let's simplify. Let's look at what do people need when they come to the website? What are they expecting? How do we serve up that information faster, easier, and in a more interesting way? And that's why, you know, like Steve Jobs challenged, we wanted to think a little bit differently about this. And you know, Steve was an incredible visionary, and we have our own incredible visionary, Vertus, who he also challenged us to think. And his whole thing is think, then do. And so we did. And that's where we came up with this. Mm-hmm. And so you look at it and you think, okay, so you changed the logo. What does that really mean? Well, a logo is a representation. It's a visual representation of how we are promising to interact with you. And we're promising to keep those things simple, straightforward, clean, and give you exactly what you expect. And that's what drove this.
So let's talk a little bit about this. I mean, with me, marketing is near and dear to my heart. Branding. I mean, heck, I've got a digital marketing agency. So, you know, can you share with everyone the elements of a strong brand and why it was necessary to reinvent the look and feel of the ASEA logo and what went into it?
So some of your strongest brands out there, David, and that's a great question. Some of them have very simple, iconic, easy to connect to things. Others have very complicated ones. But what you find is all the ones who are the biggest brands out there, they're simple and they're easy to connect to, like an Apple, a Coke, a Nike, even like a Ford or like a GMC. They just keep it really simple, really clean, and it becomes iconic over time. Obviously, you don't just come out with a brand one day and it becomes iconic. So that's part of it from a logo design standpoint, and that's what we really wanted to capture was simplicity there. We also wanted to capture something that was easily identifiable and that people could emotionally connect to. And we felt that at ASEA, our product and our approach through the compensation plan, again, they're simple, they're straightforward. And you look at our core product of ASEA, it's water and salt, and then you add power, and you have these amazing things. And so we're not an overly complicated company. Now, there's some really complicated science behind it, but from a benefit standpoint, it's really simple for you and me, Dave. I mean, it's salt and water, add some power, and we have these amazing molecules, and we feel better, right?
Yep.
So shouldn't our brand be reflective of that? And we realized, looking at how people have talked about ASEA over the last few years, that we tend to overcomplicate it because we try and dive below the surface and go into all the science behind it. Well, again, back to the Apple example, do you really care how an Intel processor works? You know, and they cut it on a 22 nanometer wafer on the Intel processor and how the serial bus interacts with the RAM. I mean, honestly, do you care? Or do you care that you flip the thing on, the screen lights up, and we can do a Hangout like we're doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, and so that's what we're trying to focus everyone is like, hey, we're not doctors, we're not physicists like Gary, so does it really matter, you know, what the exact current is or any of these things, or does it matter that we have an incredible experience with it and it's easy for us to share? And that's what this business is about. And so we also want to take a more fresh approach onto it. There are some real considerations too from a demographic standpoint about how this connects to men and women and then people of all ages. You see, a lot of times people tend to get wrapped around demographics. Oh, well, that's only for 20-year-olds. Well, that's only for 50-year-olds. That's only for this. Well, guess what? In this business, it's not about age.
Yeah.
It's about attitude, right? What you'd call psychographics. And one of the commonalities that we all have in this business, people who are building this business, is we have a desire for something better. We want to improve our people's lives. And so we distill that, and you know, that's the brand promise of ASEA, is that when you interact with us, let's improve lives. And so as we consider the changes of this brand, and any iconic brand, I think, doesn't connect with just demographics, like the age of people, or whether you're male or female. It needs to have broad appeal, and it needs to connect to people on that emotional level that says, hey, you know what, I'm a straightforward individual. I'm about getting to the point. I'm about simplicity, and I'm about helping people and improving their lives. And that's what ASEA is about, and we wanted a brand that reflected that. And I think that your iconic brands out there, they do that. They say, hey, we're about this simple idea, and we're going to do it better than anyone else.
Fantastic.
Love
Fantastic. All right, we're running a little bit close to our time end here, but I wanted to have you speak a little bit about this stuff, Noah. These are amazing pieces. Again, this is another great reason why everyone wants to attend convention. You get stuff like this, okay, and just printed on great paper, and I know that they're available. There's online versions of them as well, and maybe speak a little bit about them and maybe how they can get their hands on them, and maybe if they're going to be available in print form as well for everyone.
Yeah, so again, the approach was, how can we provide a simple, straightforward way to communicate the message around the new 28 and the opportunity? And that's where we leverage the new ASEA.net a lot. You can go right on there, go to the new 28 page, and you can download those things. We wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to get that. So people can download those and they can take it to Kinko's or whatever, and they can print them out. Now, obviously, if they want something a little more custom, like the pieces that you held up that have that wonderful feel and that great paper, then we're going to make those available very soon on the ASEA store. So we'll look for that in the next week or two, and you'll be able to order those, and you'll be able to, you know, if you want to save yourself some money and print them out yourself, go for it. If you want to provide a little more premium experience and get, you know, something on incredible paper with a nice soft touch coating on there, you can do that online. So, you know, look for that in the next week or two. Those should be coming online. We just had to get those printed and down in the warehouse and ready to roll. So we're excited about that.
Super. I see you got the new ASEA.net site up there. Real quick. Any thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah, you know, again, we just wanted to make it simple and straightforward, and kind of expand the color palette a little bit, make it a little bit more friendly and approachable. And instead of appealing just to the demographics, let's look at psychographics. Let's make this open and easy. And I think that this has some people look at it and they go, wow, it's beautiful, but it's also really simple. And we said, well, that's exactly what we were going for.
And you know, real quick, you had mentioned, because there's some social media links there, and coming down the road, that I want to encourage everyone to pay attention here, because the more participation that we have with these types of links should raise, and of course this is David's real field of expertise, raise SEO optimization ranking and search engine ranking, things like that. Is that accurate?
That's exactly why it was a big reason why we did this. You know, that you hit the nail on the head, Paul, is that our being able to interact with people from the social media platforms is what drives SEO now more than anything else. You know, backlinks and all those things still are a great way to go, but when you are able to get someone like we're on right now, we're on the Google Plus, we're on social media platforms. If we go over here and we +1 this stuff, and we've got all these original content contributors coming on here. It's going to drive SEO of not only this page, but all of our other pages, because we're going to connect everything together and be able to provide an online experience that's not just about providing information, but it's about connecting people and providing a real sense of community. And this redesign of ASEA.net and some of the forthcoming social stuff that's going to happen on this over the next weeks and months is really going to drive that experience for people.
And it's really going to drive down a lot of the negative things. You know, we get people that have, you know, again, a lot of people in other companies and competitors, they try to, you know, put a lot of doubt and questions in out there, and so they're doing things to try to drive things the other way and the bad stuff up, which again is, most of it is just nonsense. But again, so the more people that we have contributing to the positive things, we'll keep pushing those away and down to further pages. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right. The more people we have contributing to the positive message, we get the more positive messages out there, and we're driving down those negative things that people are looking at. I mean, David, you know,
more people. Well, more people are commenting, and also more people who are sharing. One of the biggest things that Google is looking at is the social signals, how people are interacting and sharing, tweeting, retweeting. You know, with Pinterest. Integrating all the social media together, and they have their own algorithms measuring that interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to capitalize on that, and so far so good. So we got a great start to it.
So we got a lot of great things going on. Any final thoughts in regards to ASEA marketing and the direction that we're going into?
My final thoughts would be, if you like where we're at and what you see here at ASEA.net and this Renew 28, like, this is just the beginning. You know, what we've got planned and what we're going to do throughout this summer, throughout this year, and certainly in the convention next year is just, some of the things are going to be really simple, but those are the things that can change. You know, they can change this business and they can take us to that next level, and we're heading there really fast. The way that Renew's been positioned, the way that the brand is being positioned as we roll this out. You know, get on board with us. Just interact with us. We want to see you guys. We want to hear from you guys. And I'm so excited. I mean, this is probably the most excited I've ever been in my career. And I've beat out Sony before for a website design. I've won Marcom awards for pieces. And I'm more proud of what we've been able to do in the last 4 months than of anything else I've done in my career. And what we're going to show you guys next is going to be amazing.
Very cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Real quick, I did see one question that popped up from Connie out there with regards to the new business cards. I do know that they're available with the new logo on it. I ordered some, actually. I'm looking forward to getting them as soon as I'm back from Hawaii next week. And I ordered the one with the little QR code on there. They're already ready there, Connie. So go to ASEAstore.com and you can order those right now. So it's pretty much a lot of the custom logo stuff. Noah is already available, right, on the store?
Yeah, there's a lot of things available on the store, and there'll be a lot more coming. You know, obviously, for us to make the entire switch over on bottles and packaging and everything, it's going to take some time. So be patient with us on that front. But yeah, a lot of really fun and exciting things are going to come.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Noah Westerlund, for being with us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Paul. Dave, you guys are awesome.
Thank you. You're rocking it.
Yes, we are so excited to be representing all the wonderful things you guys are creating over there. Super exciting. Want to also thank Brent Brooks out there for moderating our comment thread. And next week we're going to be posting the guests soon. We're sort of finalizing the arrangement there, so stay tuned to connectionhangout.com. And any final thoughts there, David?
I just want to say, you know, with everything that we've got going on, I haven't been more excited. The energy that's coming out of the field, people who are sort of lurking on the sidelines, just seeing the fire that's lit under them, it's just absolutely amazing. And as Noah said, you know, I can, just based upon what I've seen, we ain't seen nothing yet. So if people are excited now, just wait. This is going to be, I actually am going to make a projection. The rest of 2014 is going to exceed anyone's furthest highest expectations they even had. This company is going upwards and quickly.
Absolutely. We are seeing so many great early signals of that already. All these ranks that have been breaking, just convention, great enthusiasm, excitement, a clear path. it is all the ducks are lined up and in a row. So people really, this is the best time to just step on that gas pedal and to take advantage of it. And we'll see everyone in Costa Rica. All right, take care, everybody. Go out and have a fantastic rest of the evening, rest of the week, and I'll see you later. Take care, everybody.
See you later.
See you later.